Today I'm going to give you a crash course in social anxiety. At first we need to look at what is social anxiety. Almost everyone gets a little anxious or embarrassed in front of other people now and again, though some of us are more shy than others. Sometimes though the anxiety can be so intense that it stops us from doing the things we enjoy or starts interfering in our daily lives. If this sounds familiar to you, this video can help you get a better idea of what social anxiety is. Now let's look at social anxiety in more detail. Social anxiety is used to describe feelings of anxiety and fear that occur in response to social situations. Even the most confident of people can get a little anxious before a presentation or when they're meeting new people. But in social anxiety, this distress can be so overwhelming that it feels as though it's difficult to cope. Often that overwhelming anxiety is experienced even when they're just thinking about the situation or remembering a previous event. You may also have heard the term social phobia used to describe these feelings. Perhaps you feel highly anxious and distressed only in some specific situations, such as presenting to a group of people, or perhaps you feel the anxiety across most situations that generally involve other people. Do you feel extremely anxious in any of these following situations? Being at the centre of attention, meeting new people, talking to people in authority, presentations or talking in front of people, parties and social gatherings, being watched while doing something such as signing your name, eating or drinking. These situations commonly cause distress for people with social anxiety, though there are certainly others. Whatever situation you might feel anxious in, there are a number of symptoms that you may feel in response to social situations. Let's look at thoughts. Do you worry a lot about what other people think of you, or worry that you will do something embarrassing in front of others? Perhaps you really want other people to like you, or you want to do the right thing by others and become really worried that you'll mess it up. You might look at other people's reactions, wondering how you look or what they are thinking about you. People with social anxiety are often very concerned that other people will think negatively of them, and are especially worried about situations where they may be evaluated, criticised or embarrassed. Now let's look at the physical symptoms. When you're in a particular social situation or thinking about social situations, you may experience a number of physical reactions. Perhaps you were sitting at work one day and your boss asked you to sit in on a meeting with some new clients. Your anxiety increases all of a sudden, you become flustered, you start to feel warm, your breathing becomes irregular, your heart beats faster, you feel a little lightheaded, and you have to close your eyes to try and settle yourself down. You may recognise some of these symptoms in relation to your own response to social situations. These may include heart palpitations or racing and pounding heart, sweating, trembling or shaking, shortness of breath or a choking feeling, chest pain or a tightness in your chest, nausea, lightheadedness, dizziness or feeling faint, chills or hot flushes, numbness or tingling sensations, blushing, dry throat and mouth. There is often a circle of fear associated with social anxiety. This starts off with a fear of not knowing what to say when talking to other people at social events, and this leads to a safety behaviour, and often people use alcohol to overcome this. And then there is the lucky escape syndrome, but the anxiety can still remain. Often people think they managed to get through this event, but they still remain anxious about up-and-coming social events. Now let's look at avoidance. You may have been in a few social situations where you've wanted to hide away from everyone. As a result, you may have avoided these types of situations for some time. And if you haven't managed to avoid them, you probably have been feeling intense distress during these situations. If you can relate to these symptoms, then social anxiety might be a problem in your life. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor or mental health professional about the kinds of symptoms that you can get in social situations, and let them talk to you about what you can do to ease your anxiety. Now let's move on to what can be done about social anxiety. If you've been affected by social anxiety, you might naturally be wondering what you can do about it. There are a number of different options that you may wish to consider. First of all, let's look at medication. Medication has been used to reduce anxiety symptoms in social situations. Whilst there are a number of different medications that may help you to reduce anxiety symptoms, it is often difficult to know which one will work best for you. You should always speak to your doctor if you have any queries about medication, and if your doctor prescribes them, make sure you follow all the instructions and report any side effects. If you would like more information on the types of anxiety medication available, then click here and you'll go through to a blog post I wrote with much more information. Now let's look at cognitive behavioural strategies or therapy. Another option for reducing social anxiety is to use cognitive behavioural strategies. These strategies involve addressing the three components that specifically contribute to anxiety in social situations. These components include thoughts, physical reactions, and avoidance. In this way, cognitive behavioural strategies seek to change the anxiety habits that may have developed in response to social situations. Let's look at physical reactions a little bit closer. You may have felt a number of physical reactions in response to anxious social situations, such as rapid breathing, pounding heart, sweating, clammy palms, and muscle tension. To help the body restore itself to a calmer state and reduce the physical symptoms of anxiety, you can use some relaxation techniques. Some people use yoga or meditation to help them relax. You can also use some simple calming techniques by slowing your breathing down. You'd be surprised how much changing our breathing can change how our bodies respond to anxiety. If you click here, you'll go through to one of my most popular blog posts on the physical reactions of anxiety. Now let's move on to thoughts. If you feel very anxious when it comes to social situations, you may find that your thinking influences how anxious you feel. For example, being concerned that people will think poorly of you, focusing on negative feedback, or worrying about future and past events can all increase your anxiety levels. By looking at these thoughts or cognitions and determining how you change unhelpful thoughts into more helpful thoughts, you can start to reduce the anxiety that you feel in social situations. Again, if you want more information on this, then I've written a blog post called Challenging Your Thoughts, which will undoubtedly help you. Finally, I'd like to discuss behaviour. One of the most important factors that needs to be addressed in social anxiety is the avoidance of social situations. The more you don't go into these situations, the more you'll believe that you can't go into them. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should take on your biggest fear straight away. There are ways to gently confront these situations one step at a time. If you would like more information on social anxiety and anxiety in general, then please go to positivepanicattacks.com and there is lots of free information there that can help you. Alternatively, if you wait for the next video or click here, I will go into much more detail on the strategies you can employ to overcome social anxiety. Thanks for watching and bye for now.